Hello and welcome to this video review of MXGP 2019 from Milestone. Now the majority of the footage you're going to see here is going to be from the PlayStation 4 version of the game, but we'll also take a look at the Xbox One X version, so stick around for a comparison shortly. Now this is the first time that the MXGP official game has offered the current season to play, so that means you get all of the bikes, tracks, teams and riders from the real-life 2019 series, and that goes not just for the MXGP category, but also MX2, which is great news. You can create your own rider to work your way through career mode, from some admittedly rather dodgy looking preset faces, or you can play as an established rider in an authentic championship. The gameplay is largely unchanged over last year's game, as you and 21 other riders jostle for position as you skid and jump around perilous, undulating courses that are covered in thick mud that gets squished around by the wheels of every bike on the screen. Now these ruts don't affect the handling of your bike as much as they did in the classic Sega Rally update on Xbox 360, but still nice to see, and it does look really pretty. Indeed, Unreal Engine 4 is absolutely purring here, managing to render all these bikes and some impressively large draw distances that are full of detail and trackside spectators, all at a respectable 30 frames per second, whichever platform you play on. So that means all the way from the base PlayStation 4 all the way to Xbox One X is always 30 frames per second. If anything though, I'd say that the base PS4 actually handles busier scenes at the start of the races a little better than the Xbox One X, which seems to drop a few more frames, but the overall look is pretty much the same. Once the initial corner is dealt with though, both the versions I tried settle into nice, smooth gameplay. Now I should note that there's no Nintendo Switch version announced yet, but I expect there will be one in the next few months. While you're playing, it is a comparatively difficult game to control, even when you've got medium difficulty on and the game is doing some of the rider weight distribution for you. Even so, I find that the bike handling itself is fundamentally a little unpredictable, especially at high speed. Sometimes you'll find that it digs in and catches, propelling you forwards, while other times it doesn't, which means lining up jumps is really difficult. Now, that's not too much of a problem on the relatively wide tracks of the normal championship mode, but when you get into the challenges in the separate playground mode, things get far trickier. The degree of accuracy required to complete some of the challenges that are scattered across this free-roaming environment is just too great for the handling model to realistically carry, and that can make for a really frustrating experience, especially when you spend some 10 minutes trying to do one hard bit, and then do it but fall off on the last little ramp instead. At least that does make it more satisfying when you do prevail, but even so, it doesn't really feel that fun. Still, you can make your own fun in this game, because also new for this version is a track designer mode, and I've made a separate video all about that, so do look out for the link at the end of this video, but in terms of this review, suffice to say the results of your own creations look a little sparse and flat compared to the best that the built-in tracks can offer. But at least the segments available for you are nicely varied and the interface is easy to use and understand. Also new for this game is the ability to create your own waypoint races in the playground mode. And as long as you can complete them yourself, like you can in Mario Maker for example, then you can upload them for the rest of the world to try. Naturally, having played this game well before launch, nobody else had done this when I tried it, so I couldn't test other people's waypoint races, but again, the interface for creating these events is easy to understand. In motion, the game does a great job of conveying the speed of these bikes, especially if you're playing with the handlebars there in front of your eyes, which does look really cool. There's even a visor cam which gets mud on it if you want the full experience. I would say though, whichever camera you choose, the movement of the bikes over the hills and bumps may make you suffer a degree of motion sickness. I say that because it did for me, and it wasn't as bad as say Drive Club in VR, which after 20 minutes I just couldn't play anymore, but I did find that I still needed a rest after an hour or so of play before playing again a bit later. If you fall off, then there's a rewind option, but I wouldn't advise using that because it's much more fun to try and stay on in the first place. I mean, that's what this game is really all about, isn't it? It's about keeping your momentum up over the bumps and jumps, thinking of the bigger picture of the championship points table when you're taking risks, and also trying not to cut the corners because the track limits here are really strict, and even jumping slightly across the apex of a corner is penalised instantly with a reset to track. All of this makes for a rather frustrating and scrappy gameplay experience, at least until you get good, but there's no denying that the rather awesome looking replays make the game look much more fun than it really is to play. Now of course, if motocross is your thing, then this is absolutely the best game available for you to live out your fantasies, and you'll probably already have mastered control of the bike from previous titles, in which case you've probably ordered the game already. But for everyone else, and the more discerning fan of two-wheeled video games, the unpredictable nature of the bike handling, the by-numbers feel of the playground mode, and the slightly disappointing track editor, at least compared to say Mod Nation Racers, make this only a good game and not an exceptional one. Even so, it's definitely entertaining and I did have fun with it, and it definitely presents a rather unique challenge in a rather crowded racing genre, and so I give MXGP 2019 a well-earned 3 stars out of 5. Well, thanks very much for watching this review. As I mentioned earlier, you can see more of the track editor mode by clicking this link here in the top right, and please do check out my channel for more gaming videos, music and more. Also, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.